Yes. Okay. So it shows there now. Let's see if I can
Yep,
pull.
we're live.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yay. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love. And I'm joined this morning by another New Light Streaming Love member team member, Chris J. I'm so glad you're here with me.
Mm, me
Well, we
too.
tried to do this a few minutes ago, and that was a hot mess. So if hopefully you are finding us, and I want to take a moment and share share this on my page and so this is the idea that you and I kind of came up with. We're playing around with this.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not going to commit to every single morning because hey, some mornings you get up and you just don't feel like it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I in our conversation yesterday, one of the things that came very clear for me is that having gotten away from being here on the regular is not a good thing for me.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to jump back into something, and until something else presents itself, it's going to be this. Because you know what I mean? I have, boy, the internet is sure slow this morning. I tried to share our live stream and it's not allowing me to do that. Were you able to?
Yeah, I shared it on Journey into It.
Okay, I had to stop it and had to have it try again. Okay, so
Yep. There we go.
live now. No, I just wanted to let anybody who might be interested to know that we're live over here. And now I need to pull us up for the comments. Hopefully I'll be able to get it this time.
I just made it way dark in here. That light's killing me.
Oh, that's right. Well, see, we kind of discussed that when I was trying to um pull us up over here that you've been having the kind of headaches that I've been having.
Yes. Waking
Yeah.
up with them. Going to bed with them.
Mm, I am so sorry to hear that because I know what that feels like, man. Okay. I had to change over in my phone too to um our site in order I mean, over to our channel so I could pull up the comments so I could okay, there we go. All right. So we do have a couple folks that have tuned in, so welcome. Um, be glad to have you share where you're watching from if you feel so moved. This is a brand new thing for us. Um, as I was saying, especially doing it together. Um, so after we had our conversation yesterday, and after remember I shared with you that I was gonna do a live later on in the afternoon to introduce our conversation over on my channel, which I did. And if you have not already subscribed over here at New Light Streaming Love and you follow me on Sassy Seer Sheila, you will notice that there is a lot more on this channel than there is on my other channel. So be subscribed in both places because you just don't know what's going to present itself in either place. Um, I said yesterday when I shared in the conversation that we had, and I did place, um, I think I did it at least in my live. I don't know if I did it just in my live or if I did it in both places, and I'll put it in our conversation note yesterday too. The podcast between Dick Algier and Cliff High is still really in my field quite a bit. And I had shared with you yesterday his words about a temporal marker,
Mm-hmm.
about how this Joe Rogan podcast with Trump is a temporal marker. And for all the reasons they discussed, I'm not going to repeat here, definitely worth a listen to part one and part two of those videos from Rumble that I put in the show more section there. Because to me, a temporal marker is something that happens across all timelines. It's an instant in time that is marked. Now, that may not be what he means. This is my interpretation of it. But I had been wandering around feeling something huge was happening. And I think, just the descriptions that I keep hearing other light workers use and other folks that are really tuned into their bodies are that, and we've all been feeling something huge coming, and everybody knows in the collective that's there because that's what Cliff High reads is the collective unconscious through the internet web bots that he designed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's attributed to all kinds of things, but I don't know. It's then after you and I parted yesterday, I exposed myself to some astrology because as we shared, I haven't even exposed myself to a lot of astrology as of late. And it comes to turn come to find out there is lots of big energy. And then shortly after that I was led to see that there's been even more activity from the sun, mixed into the Earth's magnetic field.
Yeah.
So
There's a lot going on.
in every quadrant, it feels like. Well, I know for a fact that this deck wants to come. Are any decks screaming at you?
No,
I
I
only
haven't even began to look at that. I was looking up what the dictionary says the word temporal is.
okay, cool.
Relating to worldly as opposed to spiritual affairs, secular. And two, relating to time.
Well, you know what? Because this is brand new and we can do whatever the hell we wanna. I'm not following any sort of um, protocol or anything. There's something I would love to share with everyone. It's a very short article that I want to read.
Okay.
And interestingly enough, this article comes to us from businessinsider.com. Okay, so first of all, let's look at that because that's kind of interesting to me. Oh, wait a minute. What in the world? Okay, my housemate just tried to call in. Oh, I know why. He sees us live and he's trying to join in, I bet. That's kind of interesting. Albert's at work and he just tried to call me through private messenger. Okay. I need to get out of this. Why are we it won't let me into. Oh, you know what? There is not hardly anything free anymore. out in the world. To even read an article on the internet, you have to sign up.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Well, I went ahead and well, what it is they want your email address.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put these ad things across the front and you can't get to it. And I can't figure out how to get that off of there. Damn it. This is so frustrating. Um I there's more than one way to to do this, so bear with me just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. I know why it's doing that. It's doing that because I've been in here once and read it, and they won't allow you to go in again and read something for the second time unless you put in your email. And it's so they can sell you something or whatever. I get it, but it's so frustrating.
Yeah. They want to spam all that stuff to you.
I know.
I use a junk email for stuff like that.
Okay. And of course they're saying my email already exists, so just let me in. Oh, they won't let me have it. Okay, well, go to businessinsider.com, everybody, and read astronomers say we may live at the center of a cosmic void 2 billion light years wide. It
Mm.
was very interesting. And we talk about that in our conversation that we had, stepping into the unknown, that I put up yesterday. And so I was feeling that even more, after we hung up and after I had done that live on my channel, because there's just so much going on and nothing going on. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's where I feel that's where I'm feeling it.
Yeah.
So,
Billion years wide. My goodness. We ain't getting out of there for a long time.
well,
A
here's the
lot of
other
people
thing.
say that we went into a black hole a couple of years back.
Well, listen, think about it, okay? In terms of a black hole, I don't think one precludes the other. Number one, okay? They are all, and remember, astronomers say, scientists say that look, they might have them letters after their name, but all of them are just guessing too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but everybody gets all head up about the big names with the big letters after their name because they spend all that money getting that education. Well, it's all a bunch of educated guesses. You ain't fooling me. I'm sorry. I already know the drill. And the truth of the matter is, so it's all a bunch of puzzle pieces that everybody can collect for themselves and ask themselves questions, and you'll get about the same amount of information as they're giving you.
Mm-hmm.
More than likely, a little more accurate as well. But I don't think one precludes the other, Crystal, because think about what happens. There's so much, even in the entertainment industry, that they've put out about black holes. And just recently, again, another, I think it was science.com. I mentioned it in another live or in another video a while back, sometime earlier this year, maybe even late last year. They were talking about how our galaxy was being pulled towards a black hole.
Mm.
Well, where does a black hole begin and end? Number one. And number two, Ain't they trying to create a black hole over there in CERN so they can study it? And how do we know they didn't flip us right into a black hole?
Right.
Especially now that they're trying to tell us that we're in this great big cosmic void that's, so many billion light years wide. And then you have other channels like Lisa's team telling her that we're in like a fish bag situation, right? Where ascension is concerned. There's just so many really cool things to consider.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, when contemplating it, some of it makes some sense to me. Um, again, with the black hole thing you brought forward, I read an article again. This one was from, I think, livescience.com, it might have been, where they are now measuring instances of time on the planet where time is acting differently. And they think this is from bursts from the sun, bursts from outside the black hole. There's all kinds of suppositions as to what it is and how it's operating, right? And we all tend to quiet ourselves by trusting those with the letters after our name, after their name, because it makes us feel better that they're educated and they will tell us when we should be worried. Way to put, see, we've been trained from very young to
Hmm.
put our power into somebody else's hands.
True.
Because and let me just say, a parent of an adult child, I could tell you right now, I see how we've programmed each other into not trusting our own instincts, not realizing and knowing and believing in our own innate. I see how it happened. Very easy. So I don't know what to make of everything right now, but it sure is interesting.
Hmm. I don't know why this is coming to my mind. It has nothing to do with what in the world we're talking about. I don't know if I just zoned out for a minute and just my mind went
Yeah,
somewhere
I want to
else
hear
or
it.
what, or if there's a reason this is coming through. But okay, so something you said obviously triggered it. How we're programmed, right? And my mind went to my youngest daughter, and here lately I've been working with her on this whole thing about feeling like we're either good or bad. And I'm like, I was telling somebody that I think it was my sister. I was like, how crazy is it that even though that teaching or that programming isn't a thing in this household, like you're bad for doing this or you're good for doing that type of thing, like it's still there and she still struggles with it, feeling like she's inherently bad or that she was born bad. And of course, religion isn't a thing in the household either. So she wasn't taught you're born a sinner, you're born ultimately bad, and you have to ask for forgiveness to be good. So there's not that going on either. And and I'm like, it kind of blows my mind that that is still a thing with her. Like it's still there, you know?
Well,
And
I wonder, I wonder, because the first thing that's coming for me when you share that is that you and your example are not the only thing she's exposed to.
true. True.
Unfortunately, there's a whole lot of not good programming
Yeah.
on YouTube,
How
in
strong that
cartoons.
is, you know?
Oh,
And
yes.
even though she's exposed to like my teachings and I've had to amp them up obviously after realizing, hold the she's actually feeling like she's bad for this or bad for that. And I started seeing that within her. And now I'm having to say, like, kind of like, I guess, like mini affirmations to her. Like, if she made a mistake or something, just because you made a mistake does not mean you're bad.
Right.
You are simply human and you made a mistake. It's okay. Let's see what we can do to fix it. Like, let's
Right.
come up with some solutions. You're not bad. It's just so crazy. It's mind blowing. I don't even know why this like came up or why my mind went there, but especially after we're talking about a black hole.
Well, I wonder if part of it doesn't have to do with okay, so again, she's in other people's fields too, not and some of it may be generational karma.
It
In
could
other
be.
words, in the cellular memory, you know
That
what I
was a big
mean?
topic for us yesterday was the generational curses and stuff.
Exactly. And
What's
so,
another way to say that? Because it doesn't sound right by saying generational curse.
well, that's why, here, okay, so for me, I don't see it that way either. What I see it as, if whatever the issue, the um, trauma, okay, because let's talk about trauma for a second. What does trauma do to the human body if we, okay, oh boy, there's a whole thing coming in now. The human body is more than 75% water. Some scientists now claim that water has memory.
Mm-hmm.
You've got scientists like Emoto, Masaru Emoto, who did all of that work with photographing frozen water after sending it vibes and speaking to it. You have another gal, I want to say her name is Veda something, and I apologize, that's terrible. She's sort of picked up his work. Pam Gregory talks about her a lot, and she's been furthering those sorts of experiments with, beaming thoughts at water and freezing it and then photographing what it looks like. And it's very compelling when you see that sort of thing. When you think about exposing oneself, not just to frequencies, like I said, she's around other people, she watches YouTube, she sees commercials. You know what I'm saying? It's not as much as a conventional household, perhaps, no, but there's still exposure there. Even though she's homeschooled, there is still plenty of exposure to A, the collective, and B, generational cellular memory. Cells are made up of more than 75% water. So and her, the her grandmother carried you in her body until you were born. So every ounce of trauma that your mother went through and her mother went through is also in your cellular DNA. And it remains there until we see it, till we talk about it, till we handle it, till we release it. And I personally feel actually actively ask it to leave and not present itself any further, right? Well, you didn't do all of that needed to be done. You might have done a lot before she was born, but you didn't do it all.
Right.
Clearly, by the fact that you're seeing that, right?
Right.
So that for me, it's not a curse. It's just a hangover. Talk about genetics.
Right.
People want to say they inherited their sugar issue from their, they inherited their mostly type 2
Maybe.
diabetes inherited habits, but it's
Mm-hmm.
the same sort of thing to me, right? It's a genetic predisposition that wasn't cleared before she was born and now falls to her, and she gets to choose whether she sees it and handles it or doesn't. Because I see that going on in my family right now too, right? I see I see some generational crap in my son's cellular DNA that I know damn good and well came from me and my background. And he was never exposed to that sort of stuff. And he's walking around saying and thinking that he was, uh, oh, I'll give you an example, okay? Now, I got up to 490 pounds in my lifetime. Do you think for 1 second that I would have forced my child to eat anything on his plate that he didn't want to eat? I grew up my entire life being forced by my mother to eat crap that I didn't want to eat, and I would never do that to him. But he still thinks that I did.
Hmm.
That is a holdover that I didn't clear out of my DNA that came from my mother. And I know that's a fact because while my mother didn't force me the way she was forced horribly. She had to sit one night all night long with a raw onion on her plate in front of her as a teeny tiny kid because her dad was trying to prove a point to her that she was going to eat what he told her she was going to eat.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, that's her story. At any rate, my point is that's a trauma that she had embedded in her cellular DNA that got passed down through me now. I never, ever did that to him, but boy, he sure thinks so. You know
That's a
what I
really
mean?
good example.
A very good example. And that just came up again this weekend. So you see what I'm saying? I think that's for me, and I can't prove that that's a truth statement, but boy, that's a powerful example of a puzzle piece that if one is willing to see, one may be able to do a little something about.
Yeah. I wonder too if it's um maybe like you know how we feel things, but we're not even trying, kind of like when we hopped on live the other day, yesterday, and you automatically felt like what was going on with me physically. You wasn't trying to tap in or anything like that. And
No,
I
that's
do
right.
think we do that a lot of the times and not even realizing that it's somebody else's junk, right? But
Right.
what if that it's not only the cellular memory, but it's also kind of like kept alive by your thought and he feels that even though it
Ah,
was never like you know a point to say okay you don't have to eat this or maybe it wasn't discussed at all but still it was lingering in your field so it he picked up some of that energy and I guess I'm asking that because the feeling of being bad it's you know everything is a reflection. And if
right.
I'm seeing that within her, then is there something going on within me that's like, oh, I'm bad for this or I'm good for this, you know, that sort of thing. So,
Right.
you know, did she pick it up out of my field, even though I don't practice that, you know what I'm saying, that mentality, but it's still something in here that's has shown her that or she's picked up that in some form or fashion
Well, I feel that's a
also have
possibility.
noticed too that um my I don't know about my grandmother and her mom. I wasn't around them enough to had peeped that out with them, but with my mom, she uses like sickness and stuff to get attention. And she told me herself that the only time she got attention when she was younger was when she was sick. Well, I noticed within my youngest daughter that when she wants attention, she all of a sudden doesn't feel good. And I definitely know I don't do that, consciously at least. But she will do that. But then now, sitting here in this moment, I'm like, well, do I actually do that? You know, because I have a lot of health issues going on a lot of the times. And I'm like, are those times where I'm wanting or desiring attention? And so, you know, I'm creating some sort of, I
Well,
feel
it's
like,
at least a possibility. The fact that you're bringing it forward, I would
yeah,
say,
like I
is
have to question those things, you know, just because, like, obviously I've got something going on leading from her. conversation yesterday,
Right.
and
Well, okay, so if we go back to the water piece and the frequency, then yeah, if the whole idea of how our fields radiate, if water holds memory, then everything we've ever been exposed to is in ourselves, and everything those our ancestors prior. See, everybody acts like our ancestors are out there somewhere. No, they're not. They're in here with you. I'm sorry, but that was made very clear to me. I was shown that so very clear over the last couple of years because it's almost as though I was able to feel the absorption of my mother's energy once I accepted the fact that we are all one and yet singular. It's like her energy came home to me once her consciousness passed from this realm
mm,
because I could feel her in here
yeah,
with me, right? And I think it's a matter of whether or not we want to believe that that's a possibility, but because of the way the cells radiate, don't that make perfect sense? Because
yeah,
it's almost like home because it's the DNA is the same. So, right? So as you're radiating everything that you're moving through, working on, of course it affects, but the minute you said that about the not feeling well, as a parent, of course, the minute any child really, especially if it's yours, but any child comes to someone and isn't feeling well, everybody goes into immediate attentive mode. So, of course, they've been programmed that way.
mm-hmm, yeah,
There's never, it's whether or not it's a constant and only way. So, I feel what you're saying there. And the fact that you
yeah.
don't do that with her
I
does not
just tell her straight up, babe, are you really not feeling well or do you just need attention? Because you know that you can come to me and say, hey, mom, I need some attention. Like you can just literally straight up and come and tell me that.
Oh, good. I'm so glad you're doing it that way because that's
you
perfect.
know, because I tell her, like, I'm not always, um, as a parent, I've got this to do and that to do and this to do, and I'm not always like 100% focused on you, and that's just the honest truth. And
Right.
if I'm missing something, like the fact that you need me to slow down for a minute and be present with you, just say that. Just tell me that.
Right.
Because sometimes I'll catch on to things way too late. So, let's help each other out here and let's just be open and honest about it.
Right. Right. Well, that makes perfect sense too. And a lot of see now, a lot of folks don't think that I'm telling you, boy, the stuff I went through about how you're treating him too much like an adult. He don't need all that information. I'm like, hold on a second. Y'all act like children are supposed to just know everything. I'm sorry, but you're the one installing the programming.
Yeah. Look,
I look
everybody
out
that
here.
meets Quinley is like, she is so intelligent. I'm like, yes, because we talk and we talk about everything. And it's not child talk. We're having conversations and it makes her curious about the world and it's, nourished her love for knowledge and learning. And yeah, she is intelligent because I haven't treated her like, a little baby. Do, 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 do.
Okay, so I got something for you on that. I feel this very strongly in this moment of now because the whole time you were sharing that, I could feel my relationship with my child. Okay, first of all, it's a matter of presence. By you bringing your presence to bear in the conversations, in the entire, because you also said a few moments prior to that, do you need me to slow down? Because my attention is other places doing other things. This is also part of the design of distraction of having everybody have to earn a living so that you're not paying attention to what's important.
Yeah.
right? And so by you, because I'm telling you, I've become a world-class puzzle piece collector, girl, keeping my mouth shut, just watching people now. Now that I know what the I can see the programming in each and every one of us and how it got there and why it's there and the trauma that was piled on top of it as it was installed is what everybody reacts to. That's what triggers are. That's exact and there's a wealth of things that each one of us could do for ourselves to get out of that. I feel that's just my focus, I guess, for me, but when you were saying that, I could feel that that is that. See, you know what? My whole life, I was told over and over and over how intelligent, right? It's it's not, I don't have book smarts. I didn't go to college, girl. I didn't even graduate high school. I took the GED at 16 and passed. Whoop ding dong do. They don't, I don't even think I passed, made high marks. I just, skin of the teeth kind of thing. But that intelligence is the innate. It is the
Yeah.
divinity
I noticed that too.
and the presence of divinity
Mm-hmm.
feels intelligent. Hello, can I get a
Yeah.
hello?
Yep. Yeah, she's uber connected too. So,
I bet she is. And I'll tell you something else too. Most children are going to be, especially if,
hmm
because what are you doing when you have her focused? You are helping the divinity get focused within the physical vessel. Are you kidding? It ain't easy getting in here
ooh, that
and
gave me
staying
cold
in here.
chills.
What?
It gave me cold chills.
Me
To think
too.
about that
Because
process, like,
yes, me too. Because most of us are really just hovering around up here, not getting fully into the vessel. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you that's what I did anyway. I know for a fact. You know why? It's pretty MF and painful up in here. At least in this vessel. I was hanging around up here most of my life, not fully in here. I don't think I'm fully in here now. And since that's the name of this game, that's why I was saying to you the other day, what the hell am I doing here? Am I trying to get myself off the planet again? Because, you know, got to get the physical vessel in line here, right? So that's, first of all, cool that you brought that forward because honestly, that is a huge part to me. That's one of the most important parts on the planet. And I think that's also one of the reasons why, you know, we've seen so much go on with the schools, that indoctrination and stuff. That's another way of taking that innate out. You're programming the innate that you're supposed to do this at this time, and you got to raise your hand to go to the bathroom, and then 5 minutes later after you graduate, you're supposed to know what you want to do with the rest of your life.
yeah.
I'm what? I'm convinced that even now at 63, what we're looking at here is puberty, right? I mean, I'm just now getting to know who I am, and conventionally it's time to go. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I doth protest.
You're right.
I did pull some cards for an energy read
Okay.
for us. I love this alchemy of the elements. Is that what it is? Yeah, alchemy elementals. Did you see this?
No.
Um, Jasmine's boyfriend, Ernesto, who is such a lovely being, owned this deck and brought it over. And I was like, the minute I saw it, I was like, oh, that's got to be a birthday present or something. So I bought it for myself. It was only $20 and I just adore it. It's got a lot of really pretty,
Oh, yeah.
right? I swear I see new birth bursting from that sun. And we were, that's when you were telling me about your headache this morning again. I just know this week in particular, let me just say for everybody, I feel this week in particular is going to be really interesting with the energetics, whether they're natural, whether they're man made, whether we're doing it. Because believe me, I think it's a combination because the collective has a lot to do with what happens on this planet energetically. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Um, oh wow, and I was talking about how your grandmother carried you actually in her
Mhm.
womb and so on. That's a true statement. That's very interesting. That kind of looks like that too, doesn't it? The
Yeah,
multidimensional
it
layers
does.
of the ova.
Yep.
This is the sky, wind, sun card. It also bears the number 46, which is so interesting because it's on page 62 of the book. That's why I numbered your cards because I got to have a way to find it quickly.
Yeah.
So the book says your essence is a service to the world, dear one. And the three people who are watching this, you were drawn here. There is going to be something in this conversation, in these cards. It may not be the whole thing. You may not agree with quite a bit of what's being said, but there will be something here that will spark for you, or you wouldn't be here. That's the way I look at it. I don't advertise that. Well, I did put on my page that I was going live with Crystal, but over here, but that's really all I did. So if you were drawn here, there's a reason. There's something here. And as part of the all that is, don't think for a second that your energy isn't needed and required, actually. Because if it wasn't, you wouldn't be here. I know that. So that's your essence is a service to the world, no matter what it is. Oh, and good and bad is an opinion, by the way. That just came in about for Quinley. Because folks, we've been raised to think in duality terms good, bad, uh, light, dark. I should have said good and evil, not bad,
Right.
because that's right, wrong. When in fact, it's and, not or. And they are all subjective, depending on who's doing the viewing and the feeling into, based on their entire lifetime of experiences only. And it's unfair for anyone. And I don't care what kind of morality you want to talk about. It don't matter to me. All morality is subjective, depending on what a person has been exposed to and how they've been treated in their life, in my opinion,
Yeah.
which is again just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know why everybody decided that we couldn't have opinions all of a sudden because we were offending each other. Okay, so what? I'm offended at that, and $5 I'll buy you a cup of coffee somewhere. You know what I mean? Your spirit overflows with joy and happiness, love and wisdom. Do not hoard these energies for yourself. They are meant to, that's a direct message to us right now, I feel
Yeah.
like, too.
Yep.
Okay. Because we've been hiding away.
Yep.
Yep. Your essence
Permanence.
enhances other people's lives by just being in their presence. Holy shit. We were talking about that too.
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing you have to do, and there is nothing you have to say. It is simply about sharing the energy that authentically radiates from your heart and from your spirit. Your energy is like a spark that activates inspiration and positivity in other people, and that is why you carry this medicine, child. Oh my God, this is a direct message to me specifically. And I know that. You've called me a catalyst before.
Yeah.
But and Fawn has been all she's been so in my field wondering where I am and why I'm not out there. Because the world needs this gift, this radiant mirror you hold within you that transmits the message, I see you, I hear you. My power is your power. Look at how powerful you are. That's true. As a master, I am going to call myself a master puzzle piece collector at this point because I have this uncanny ability to recall people's words, to recall instances, people's names, different things that I know is my innate, feeding me that info. That's that intelligence that, that they talk about with Quinley. You're going to hear that over and over and over again. And I didn't think I was connected to my innate. No, it's so uber. You used the word uber. I did too when I first finally figured out what, oh, that's why people think I'm so intelligent. Because I couldn't figure out how I had the answers to all that stuff either. I just knew that. I don't know why it was right or whatever, but I just knew that, right? And so people referred to me as intelligent and genius, and I've even been called an evil genius, things because I have a way with words, you know what I mean? So so um but that it's that innate, man. It's that innate. Wow. And you're right. I've seen it. I've watched it from afar ever since the decision to stay was made after her heart surgery. Oh yeah, man. Her
Yeah.
presence is
Mm-hmm.
well, the young ones being born now, they're a whole new breed, man.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so the fairies wanted to come out too. The Lady of the Harvest came out, which it's the right time. Card number 18. Oh, remember how yesterday on the split when you asked me to do that reading,
Mm-hmm.
we had the himself card?
Yeah.
That was number 17. Today we have number 18.
Mm-hmm.
The Lady of the Harvest. The key words for this card are completion, grief, loss, harvest, release.
Mm.
After we have experienced the nurturing and fulfillment of the bright mother, the lady of the harvest, also called the old woman or crone, helps us to let go of what is finished and liberate ourselves to move on to the next phase of our activities and relationships. I do feel like that's what you and I are doing in a
Yeah.
very real way between yesterday and today,
Yeah.
having these conversations about what's been going on with us. And yeah, that's what that is.
Yep.
Often we associate the Lady of the Harvest with loss, regret, and grief, and often we are right to do so. Um, I don't know if I read that or not. Did I read, as in the natural world, the old becomes compost for new growth in our lives? The lady helps us to adapt to change and release, which I do, like I said, I do feel like we are doing that. We often associate the Lady of the Harvest with loss, regret, and grief, and often we are right to do so. The basic phases of grief are shock, denial, anger, guilt, emotional storm, acceptance, regaining of perspective, the beginning of healing, and the deepening of our capacity for love. Yeah, I'm being shown where these basic phases, in some ways, I've embodied those over this past year. Ooh, and even now I'm having this really big movement through. So that's very interesting. Oh, almost like okay, so there's a realization in that chamber you spoke of
Hmm.
yesterday, just now. It's like a light might have come
Mhm.
on. The Lady of the Harvest understands grief and is patient and kind as we go through the sometimes painful process of letting go. We may well need to be patient and kind with ourselves. I really have been trying to do that for myself because that's a whole new ball game for me.
Yeah.
I'm usually very hard on myself and consequently everybody else around me. We should note here that the grieving process is the same for little losses and large ones. Only the time scale and the intensity of the emotions vary, but they vary enormously. And I'm being shown something right now too, pertaining to our earlier conversation. In terms of cellular memory release, okay, we talked about, clearing generational karma. I think that's what, even though that's not exactly what some people think of when they think of that, for me, that's what I think of. It's trapped in the water, the memory of the cells within this vessel. That's why that trauma still presents itself, that you can't associate it with anything else.
Yeah.
Right? And so sometimes I think we have griefs and things that we're feeling that we may be working through and releasing that we don't even know we are doing. If we are working on things, for this is me personally, right? Because what I did was I asked my innate if it's important for me to know what it is trauma wise that I'm releasing, that I need to have that right up here in the forefront of my mind. Why, let's get that going. Let's rip off that band-aid and let's do that grief and loss and whatever it is that am required to move through so we can get it moving. But if it's something that I don't have to know, that I can simply say, let's let it go, then let's just right now let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And if something comes up that I need to, that's why I don't make any hard and fast decisions, rules, suppositions about what I'm feeling right away, because I'm turning loose of all kinds of stuff, including the rest of 490 pounds of cellulite and whatever else that's in this body that has been damaged and abused by me for the 63 years that I've been in it all on my own without the generational DNA on top of it. And so when I massage my body after getting out of the shower and putting on my wonderful oils that I make out of my essential oils, I speak to my body and I thank it for being here. But I also say to the cells, whatever we're ready to release now, I'm ready for you to release it. If it's something for me to know, let's know. If not, I'm here. I'm ready. I'm open. And by bring it's again that presence
Mm-hmm.
to that, right? So if I'm crying and I don't know why, oh, I don't care. I'll sit down and cry. Let's get it out and get it over because I've already said that to myself, is I know there's a lot of stuff up in here. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, we might go through all the grieving stages of a small loss in a few minutes, while it might take years for a greater loss. So it could be, again, generations for some of the more traumatizing stuff, especially a program that's been instituted over and over and over and over and over and over that maybe you started breaking. And because, you got part of it out of your system, but not all of it, right? So it's still in yours as so she has it too, right? But maybe not to the degree you
Right.
do. On the other side of this letting go business, there are many things that make us lighter and happier when we release them. Old traumas, tasks, or stages in our lives that we are glad to have finished. Unhappy relationships or feelings that cause us pain and inhibit our growth. Sometimes we simply comfortably finish with one aspect of our lives and move on to the next, happily anticipated one. Such releases are cause for celebration, and the old woman joyfully celebrates with us. In this card, we see both the patient acceptance of loss and joyful celebration of liberation. Well, there's also, for me, there's something beautiful in loss as well, because we are trained, programmed to be unhappy at the death of something because of what everybody thinks death is. Well, I was shown again over this past weekend that death is not at all what we think it is. I was led, I think we talked about this a little bit, through my own earworm through to the 2001 A Space Odyssey, right up to Stanley Kubrick's own explanation of the very end of 2001 A Space Odyssey, which is very clearly transformation and rebirth, not death. The way, and it's just nothing, right?
Yeah.
So there is a beauty in that, especially once I realized that my mother and my father reside right here. It's not just in the heart space, it's also in that cellular DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And so as that consciousness left that realm, at least a portion of it lives right on, right here. So it's never gone anywhere. And that's quite beautiful. So that's why I say there's, I do also see, for me, looking at this card, and I don't know why that's true, but it is. Eventually, we will decide when it's time to go. Had I cared for this body in the proper manner, I'm pretty sure I would get to choose when it's time to go. And I'm not so sure that that's not still the case. You know what I mean? This is all an experiment for me now. I have no responsibilities. My child is grown. I have no husband. I got, this is all just me. And I get to play now,
Right.
figure things out. And the truth of the matter is, what if what I suspect is true? Then I'm the one that has the power over how this goes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I was also guided to pull from your deck, and
Ooh.
two came out. Yep, two of them.
What number did you put on that? The healer one.
This
Yeah.
one,
Yeah. 5.
isn't that interesting? Then now I did not look at them and choose the numbers. But a true healer actually doesn't heal. The true healer points you to heal yourself. That's in my opinion. That's just that's just my opinion. That's why I'm not claiming to be a healer for you out there because I got all I can do to heal this right up here.
All right.
And believe you me, this is quite the job. I've been working on this now for a little bit. So, but yeah, I think that's kind of interesting that the healer would come up with the number five.
Mm-hmm.
Many will call you the wounded healer, but you know you are much more than that. The wounds of the past have no hold on you, and you are doing what you can to heal them. You have been through so much, and although you have fallen, nothing has kept you down. There is a reason for that, a reason why you did not fold, give up, or give in. You are called to turn your path. I'm sorry, I said your path, and it's your pain.
There might be
And
something in that.
well, right,
And
and
your
let me just
path.
well, and my path has led through quite a bit of pain. I mean, over 20 surgeries, months and months and months in the hospital, lots of pain in my path. Uh, so you are called to turn your pain into your superpower. This activation will assist you in your healing journey so that when you are ready, you can use that to drive you and help others in their healing journey. You have a purpose. You are more than worthy and are more than enough, dear healer. Feel the light within you as you connect with the encoded art. And when the time comes, shine that light. Now, I hold it up here like this and trying to make sure I get it.
It is.
There we go. And if you feel so called, pause the screen. It is light language. It is channeled art. And if you ever feel drawn, reach out to Crystal because these can actually be made into jewelry. I own several of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Well, I love that this came out, and I take that again as a direct. See, this is always for me, always for me. And if it's helpful for anybody else, I'm just so grateful. Um,
You know, that card specifically is you know how you have your card in that deck? I attributed a card to you. Well, that card is my card.
well, rightfully so.
I channeled that message specifically for me in that artwork.
Well, and rightfully so. I love the way, and there's a lot in here for me of this one. Right? I see diving into self. I
Mm,
see the inner moving to the
yeah.
outer through the waves, right? This is just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
it's funny
also
too, every time I go to pull a card from that deck, from my deck, yeah, it it always throws that card out. And I'm like, y'all already know, my gosh.
well, uh okay, but I'm gonna pull your words out here. Because you asked me to do a reading yesterday, and I did, and anybody can go back and see that. But this whole thing, the wounded healer, and how is your Achilles this morning?
It's still hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
the
Good.
thing is, that here's the thing too. You know, I've never shied away from shadow work or
Right.
questioning myself or anything like that. When we got done yesterday, I asked myself one question and I didn't go any further with it. That is so not me. So I don't know what the deal is with that.
Oh, I'll tell you what I heard in my head, but I don't know if it's just smarmy being mean. I heard running.
Yeah. I've
And
never done that before though. So
right?
that's kind of new and crazy for me.
Oh, well, I wonder if you picked it up from me.
I don't think so. I
Because,
think it's
okay,
just
I hope not.
I don't know. I think this one's just like so convoluted that I my maybe like I'm not in a space where I can process it all just yet, you know?
Well, I will tell you, in my case, and I don't even know why there was some running. Um, but I will say this, what I just heard too was timing.
Yeah.
So I do know that I do know that that's at least a possibility, but I did want to pull out something here first before I moved on to the next one. You, which apparently was a good idea. You have been through so much, and although you may have fallen, nothing has kept you down. There is a reason for that, a reason why you did not fold, give up, or give in. You are called to turn your pain into your superpower. That those words we discussed yesterday specifically.
Mhm.
So then you said to me that you asked yourself one question and you didn't go any further. And we talked about timing. And you also said that maybe you're not in a space. I think there's something somewhere hasn't happened yet
Mhm.
for whatever it is to be either received by you in the space you need it to be
Yeah.
in order to receive it properly and
Yeah.
work through it, release it, whatever it is, right? But it will
Well, you know,
ultimately be a superpower.
yeah, well, I mean, like even this conversation this morning needed to happen because there's two components that are going to be added into this when I do sit down to actually work through all of this. You know, I've been jotting down the things that I need to dive into. And
I've
so there was two
noticed.
more things that came up, today that, and it's all a part of, what's going on.
Right.
So, yeah, you're right. There's something, it's like an unfolding. I'm
Right.
getting there.
Right. You are getting there. And that's the other thing that so am I. And that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I do have this tendency of being really hard on myself, and I've been being told to relax into myself. I got this. And I think that's again why the timing thing came up. Because we all tend to, again, we got a 9 to 5. I got places to go, people to see, crap to do, got dinner to make. I don't know what you got going on, but I got stuff, right? And everybody's so concentrated on the stuff that we don't have time for this, and we're not in the right frame of mind for that, and again, there are other things that in the tapestry, the weft and the weave of life that actually are interconnected hasn't unfolded yet. Some
Hmm.
other free will component
Yeah.
somewhere else, perhaps. Like you said, this conversation had to happen this
There's
morning.
a yeah, there's a
There-
certain wave of energy or information that needs to come through to unpack everything.
right. I've said many, many times that there's been redundancies in set up for this particular ascension cycle because I just know there's a plan of some sort, but because we have free will on this planet, plans go awry because this one over here didn't wake up in time and didn't remember, so now actor B has to show up and hopefully remember their lines and that kind of thing. That's what we got going on. I really have felt that all along. So it's just a divine timing thing. The other one that came out was number 36, heal the heart, which with, the stuff that we've talked about with me as of late, the chambers of the heart that are
Mm.
where the light needs to go on, right?
Yep.
It is time to surrender. Surrender to you and all the things that you feel. If you have been having a hard time processing what is in your heart, this encoded art comes forward to assist in the surrender. It is okay to feel everything you are feeling. It is okay to heal the heart in whatever way you need to. For some, that is going to look like a really good, deep, thorough cry. For others, you may need to speak your grievances to a friend, a therapist, or even the person that hurt you. However you choose to heal, it is perfect for you. Activating a sense of, well, you know what? I'm so glad you put that in there, because the truth of the matter is there is not one way.
Yeah.
I was shown that quite clearly back in the day when I was, a kid in the religious thing, and I started questioning religion and seeing how every single body thought they had the right way, the only way. And but yet the God seemed kind of similar. You know what I mean? And I've since then been shown each is individual. That's the whole point. That's why there is a myriad of ways to come to the healing, and each is perfect for each. There is no one way to do anything. As much as people would have you believe because it worked for them that it will work for you. No, some of it might, but not all of it. It is, however you choose to heal, it is perfect for you. Activating a sense of comfort in your time of need, a safe space for you to heal. Didn't you just say that about not being in the right space?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We said everything with this card, just in a different, different way.
Yeah, I think you're right. Activating a remembrance of the joy that also resides in your heart, sparking memories of times where you were aligned with that joy. The pain, sorrow, and hurt you feel at this moment is not forever. You are in the now, and now you must surrender, releasing all that you are, surrendering to. As you do this, you heal the heart, you heal the soul, you heal you. Be ready in the days to come to heal the heart. You are worthy of feeling that joy again.
Mm. It's crazy how I don't even remember like writing these. Like I know I did, obviously, but
Well, no, I'll tell you why. Yeah, you want me to tell you why? Because something else, the higher the innate takes over. And because listen, that happens in our conversations here too, because the minute we shut down yesterday, I walked out into the living room and Lisa asked me how it went and wanted a little recap of our conversation. Dun, 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 damn if I can tell you.
oh my
You're gonna
goodness.
have to watch the video, girlfriend, because I could give you a little bit of what but what we said, and because I'm getting better at just allowing the innate to not ride shotgun, but be front,
Yeah.
you know. Um, wow, I'm really glad we did this. Thank you for
Yeah.
doing this with me.
Yeah.
And it looks I don't know that all three of the viewers that are with us are the same three that started with us, because we did go up to four and then we went down to three. But thank y'all for being here. And we're planning on trying to do. Are we going to try to do this every morning? You're not available every morning like this, are you?
Not every morning. Mondays and Tuesdays are definitely good.
Okay.
Well,
I can do it. I can do it on my own.
we could do, so Wednesday and Thursday are co-op days, but we don't go until Wednesday probably wouldn't work because we leave at 9, but um, Thursday we leave at 11:30. So as long as we get going like we did this morning, then that would be fine. Maybe we should just like, kind of roll with it and see.
Yeah, let's do.
But yeah, Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays are perfect.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'm gonna not commit, of course, but I'm going to give it a go this week of
okay.
just being here at New Light Streaming Love every morning,
Okay.
at some point in the morning. So if you're not subscribed here, three lovely viewers, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell. Hopefully, you'll be notified when we upload a video or go live, and you can join us if you like. Otherwise, you will also be notified, when we upload videos, which I am getting ready to. That's what the rest of today is going to be, by the way. Just so you know, I am about to begin recording the Jeshua channelings uh, to put up in the vault here on this channel. It will also be available over on my channel, but because I want it to be in both places, Um, because this one was another one of those instrumental pieces, puzzle pieces. I mean, look at this thing. I'm telling you, there is highlights, and this was the biggest validation of every, because I've read the Bible cover to cover twice in my lifetime. And I went through all kinds of religions. I studied with the Mormons. I studied with the Jehovah Witnesses. I came up with the Baptists. I visited the Methodists. I've been to the Catholics. I even went and I've done the Tibetan thing. I did. There was another one, Hindu thing once. Just looking for answers and information and why everybody thought that they had the right way. Come to find out it was right in here the whole time. But this right here has been the biggest validation of what I always thought was true. My suspicions, my puzzle piece collectings. The whole time I was reading this, I was like, and I'm so fortunate. Of course, it is freely available at jeshuachannelings.net. You don't have to buy the book, although I highly recommend the book for this very reason. But you can go to jeshuachannelings.net and read the channelings at her site as well. She gave me permission to record and share the book online. So thank you so much for doing this with me. I'm actually quite pleased internally that we're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the
So,
same.
you do?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so glad. Okay, so if it don't help nobody else but us, at least hey.
So it's been super helpful to me.
Well, me too. And that's the big thing. So, and if it has been helpful for you, give us a thumbs up and a like or whatever, share if you feel so led, and definitely come back and see us tomorrow. Mwah. Till next time. Bye, sweetie pie.